picking every conference champion for college football 25.
College football is back, and we're back on the Big Mountain to make some conference championship picks.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Mountain. I am JY. This is my good friend Steve. Steve, we are gearing up for football season 25. Only a few weeks out, we have started our preparation, our previews, our ranking shows, and this show we want to talk about conference champions for all 10 conferences. That's right, all 10 conferences.
I love it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
So we're going to start with the two conferences that you and I follow by far the most closely, that being the Big Ten and the Mountain West. So you're the Big Ten guy. Let's get started. Who are you picking to be the Big Ten champion this year?
Yeah, so I'm going with a trend that has kind of gone the last, basically, I think this will be the third year of a recurring trend in the Big Ten. 2 years ago, we saw Michigan. They brought back all those players. Won the conference, went on to win the national championship. Last year, we see Ohio State bring back a veteran team. They didn't actually win the conference. Oregon came in and won the conference, but they went on and won the national title. I think this year is Penn State's year, so I'm picking Penn State to win the Big Ten Conference this season.
Makes sense. Bringing back a lot of players. For your sake, Steve, I hope you're right, because you are a Penn State fan.
True.
And they have it put together. We'll see if they can actually do it on the field. But they definitely have the returners. They've got the quarterback. They've got the coach. To me, they've got everything they need to be successful, I think.
And this is the first time since we've started doing this show, in our third year of the show, that I've picked Penn State to win the conference. So,
well, you won't be surprised I'm picking Ohio State, because that's just how I roll. Nothing against you and your Penn State Nittany Lions, just because I don't trust Penn State until they're going to throw it in my face, which they absolutely could this year. But I'm going to go with the old standby. The Buckeyes, they are only returning 9 starters, but they are so daggone deep. I mean, they've got 3 starters at every position on that team. So Ryan Day, you just did your Big Ten head coaches, ranking your head coaches number 1 after what he was able to accomplish last year. Oregon, I think, as we've said, is probably taking a step back a little bit. I like PSU and OSU in the championship game, assuming schedules allow that to happen. But I just, history for me just takes over, and I got to pick the Buckeyes, so I apologize.
I mean, they're super talented. You never can go wrong. If you just pick them every year, you're going to be right more than you're not.
Right. So let's go to the Mountain West, the other conference we follow closely. I'm going to be picking here, Steve, Boise State, the Broncos. They return 14 starters. Of course, Maddox Madsen, really in his third year, his first year he didn't have wasn't a full starter role for him there. He was last year. I thought he improved as the season went on. Not that he started poorly, but he definitely got more comfortable. Yes, we all know Genty's gone. I'll repeat myself. But I do like their quarterback room. Will they have that explosive power run that Genty could do where he's breaking tackles? Okay, they may not have that as much this year. They won't have that as much. But I think the elevation of Madsen, I think they do have a better wide receiver room this year. I think it's going to be Madsen's team, and I think he's ready for that. And they still have a really good defense. So I'm picking Boise State for the Mountain West, Steve. Who do you got?
Yeah, I highly considered both UNLV and San Jose State, and I think both of those are going to have a say in what goes on for the championship in the Mountain West this year. But I had to go with Boise State as well. I mean, they're honestly, I think they in the newest rankings they were number 25 in the country.
Right.
I see them as a top 15 to 20 team in the country right now, and just the best overall team in the Mountain West. Yes. They are losing the Big Mountain Player of the Year, the People's Heisman,
That's right.
Ashton Genty. However, this might actually give them an opportunity to be a more balanced team. Like you said, Madsen gets a whole other year of running this offense. And I just think Boise State is the total package. I think they have everything going for them. And I just expect them to not only host or to hoist that Mountain West trophy again, but also be in the college football playoff again.
Yes, totally agree. We're going to go back and forth between power programs and group programs. So let's go to the SEC next, Steve. Who do you have winning the SEC?
Yeah, I have Texas. I think Coach Sark down there has done amazing things building that program back. It was so funny because every year everyone jokingly asked, is Texas back? Is Texas back? No one asks that question anymore because everybody knows they're back. The collection of talent they have is amazing. He's one of the best offensive play callers that we've seen in the last decade or so. I don't know that they have a weakness. Maybe their offensive line, they're kind of rebuilding. Last year they made it to the championship game, the CFP championship game. And without, they had lost a lot of players throughout the season. They're getting a lot of those players back.
Right.
So I'm kind of taking Texas for the reason that you took Ohio State.
Yeah.
I just think they're the most talented. They're coming off another successful year. And I don't even want to say his name, but Arch Manning, I think will step into that role and just be fine.
He will be.
I'm not I don't want to get wrapped up in the hype, but I think he'll be probably just as good as Quinn Ewers, if maybe be able to take a step forward. So I'm going with Texas.
I don't have much to add. I totally agree. It is an Ohio State type situation in terms of the talent, in terms of what they did last year, in terms of everything that you just said. So I'm not going to regurgitate everything you said. I totally agree. I also picked Texas, so we agree. We're two for three right now on agreeing. But the next one, the American, say it right, the American.
The American.
We're not going to agree on.
Okay.
I'm actually going to take the team that I liked last year. I like them again this year. UTSA, they bring back quarterback McCowan. They don't play Memphis. They don't play Navy. And they get Tulane, another very high ranked team here in the American. They get Tulane at home. So, man, if there's any year their team kind of fits the schedule, yeah, I think it's this year. So I have to go UTSA. But I'll tell you what, there was 3 or 4 teams that you really could have probably talked yourself in here. Yep. So who you going with?
Yeah, I'm going with Tulane. I considered the service academies. I like UTSA. I like Memphis is always good.
Yeah.
I think Tulane, even though they lost their quarterback, he transferred. But I think that they might last year they were in the running all season for a potential CFP spot.
Yes.
I think they will challenge again this year for that G6 CFP spot. And I think they might be overall an even better team. So I'm going with Tulane to win the American.
Okay, well, let's go to the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, with a few West Coast teams.
Yeah.
Who do you got here, Steve?
Yeah, so I'm going with the Clemson Tigers. I just think they're the most talented team.
Yep.
In that conference. They have a lot of experience coming back. Cade Klubniak was fantastic last year in that playoff game against Texas. Was fantastic down the stretch to get them into and win the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
They have so much talent coming back, so much experience. Dabo Sweeney has been there, done that. His teams, I looked since he's gotten there, been the head coach at Clemson. Every single time they get to the conference championship game, which is about half the years that he's been there,
right.
They win the darn thing.
Yeah.
Like, they don't lose it if they get there. So to me, I thought it was a pretty easy pick. I mean, there's some other teams I like. SMU was great last year.
Yeah.
I think Louisville will be good this year.
Yeah.
Who knows with Florida State,
Yeah.
But I think Clemson here is the easy pick.
I'm with you. We agree. Clemson, I think they ride that momentum where they were at the end of last season, winning that championship right into this year. I like, was it Klubnik?
Yeah.
I like him at quarterback again. Actually, one of my early line Heisman picks that I'm trying to get some value out of. So I'm with you. I'm taking the Tigers here for the ACC championship as well. Let's go to the Sun Belt Conference. The Sun Belt, one of the conferences, maybe the only one now. Maybe one of two that has an East and a West,
yes,
right? A lot of them are doing away with the divisions. The Mountain West did away with them. The Big Ten did away with it. Well, the Sun Belt still has divisions. And we're going to not agree here, Steve. I'm actually going to go with Georgia Southern, a team I really liked last year. They improved. They keep their quarterback French. And they return 13 starters. I like everything about them. I think they build off of last year. I think they have a very good offense. And, their schedule, I look at schedules when we're talking championship games because you kind of have to get there first, and then you can win it. And when you look at the teams they play in the West, they get Southern Miss and Arkansas State. Not a bad lineup for the two West teams, right? Kind of a middle of the road conference and probably near the bottom for that division. So I like Georgia Southern here. I like what they did last year. I expect big things of them again this year, but I know you're a little different.
Well, for me, this was one of the harder conferences. I looked into the different teams, and there really is a lot of candidates because a lot of the teams in the Sun Belt had a big transition. Either lost a lot of players, brought in a lot of players, or both.
Yeah.
So I just decided to go kind of with an old standby here, Appy State. Yeah. The culture they have, I just like what they're doing as a program. And when you look at the transfers in, transfers out, I think they might be on the positive side of that this year. So I'm going with Appy State to win the Sun Belt. Another one of those where, they've had some pretty good success there.
Yeah, let's go back to a power conference with the Big 12. I think if people saw our CFP preview, our predictions, they're going to know who we're picking here. But if you didn't, they're not going to know. So who are you picking, Steve?
Yeah, I'm going with Arizona State to win again this year. Last year they were picked to finish 13th in the Big 12, end up running the tables, winning the thing. There's a lot. The Big 12 is kind of a very level playing field. There's a lot of teams that could play well.
Yep.
BYU did great last year. I know there's high expectations for Baylor.
Yep.
You have the Kansas programs. Texas Tech just invested, millions and millions of dollars in this team. They have a roster. Texas Tech has a roster, spent about as much money on their roster as Ohio State did last year, who ended up winning a national championship. So we'll see there. I just think what they have going on at Arizona State, I think they're going to continue that program's momentum moving forward. And so I'm going with them again this year to win the Big 12.
I get it. I'm taking Baylor, though. I mean, they returned 15 starters. I talked about their schedule at the CFP. It sets up really well for them. They bring back a 1,000-yard rusher in Washington. They return their quarterback in Robertson. So I really like this Baylor team, but I hear you. I mean, you could kind of put half of this daggone conference in a jar and pull one out and be like, they could probably win it.
Yep.
So we shall see. But another one we disagree on, we're going to go to the MAC, and one that we disagree on. It's way more fun when we disagree.
It is,
Not that
sure.
we're like, fighting about it,
Right.
but it's way more fun to talk about two different teams.
Yes.
And so the MAC, I am going to pick Toledo. I think Toledo is where it's at. I think they're ready to go this year. They bring back their quarterback. He's a 2,800-yard passer last year. And they do not play Ohio or Buffalo. That is huge. Yeah. They do play Miami, who's also a very good team. But not having Buffalo or Ohio, some of the top teams in this conference, again, you got to get into the daggone game to win the game. I like how this sets up for Toledo, so I'm going for Toledo, and I know you have someone else to talk about.
Well, so I consider three teams, all from the state of Ohio.
Okay.
Miami, Toledo, and the Ohio Bobcats.
Yep.
And I decided to go with the Ohio Bobcats.
Okay.
I just, again, this conference is so hard to tell. There is... For a long time, it was really, you could throw a blanket over everybody, but now we have had a few programs really rising to the top, and Ohio Bobcats are just one of them. I love the trajectory their program is on, so I'm sticking with the Ohio Bobcats to win the MAC.
Okay, well, let's go to the Pac-12, or should I say the Pac-2. We have two teams to choose from. Who are you picking?
Yeah, so
not that there's a conference championship, but they do play each other twice this year. So.
Right. Well, I think that's the really interesting part. Not who's going to be the champion.
Yeah.
The fact that their schedule this year very unique, playing each other twice, so basically home and home.
Right.
Never seen that before. Programs do that. I'm excited about it. It gives them each a chance to host. So with this, it's so unique. I just went who I think is going to be the better team this year. So I'm going with Oregon State Beavers. Washington State, they were great last year. Had a great run. They just lost so much. I had to go with Oregon State. I like Malik Murphy coming in from Duke. And I think they just have a better roster this year. So I'm going with Oregon State kind of as the de facto Pac-12 champion.
I'm with you. I think I'm picking Oregon State. I think if there's one team that could win both of the games, it's Oregon State. I mean, everybody goes, I'm going to split them because that's the easy thing to do. And that's what I'm going to do too.
Yeah.
But I think if there's one team that is way more likely to win both games, it is Oregon State. I think Washington State loses so much in Mateer. I mean, I saw a decent number of their games because they played a lot of Mountain West teams. Yep. And I'll tell you what, that dude won games almost single-handedly. They had that awesome receiver. I'm forgetting his name as well. Like those two dudes, they won the games for that team. And I'm not saying they're going to be 0-12. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But they're not the team they were last year. No doubt about that. And I'm with you. I'm with the Beavers. I'm going to say win both games. I'm going to say they win both Pac games this year.
I would not be surprised.
So the last one, Conference USA, we're going to agree, Liberty, 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 Liberty. Yeah, I mean, you got to pick Liberty. They just, it gets kind of old, but they have 15 returners, Steve. 15 returners. And that's where I'm going. I do like, they're not going to win well, I shouldn't say they're not. Highly unlikely. I do like where UTEP's at. I do like, I think they get a 6-6 record here this year. I'm not saying they make the championship game, but I like what they're doing. I'm excited for them in the Mountain West here in another year. But we're talking champions for this year, and I've got Liberty.
I think UTEP could be the most improved team in the conference, but as far as conference champion, you got to go with Liberty. They're bringing back so much. Last year, their quarterback situation was kind of weird for the first time in a while. It sounds like they have that settled down. They're bringing so much returning production back. Yeah. And let's face it, the Conference USA is it's not a real good conference.
We're bringing in 2 new schools this year, right?
Right. So. And Liberty has shown over the last few years, for whatever it's worth, they're kind of the class of the conference, especially when they get good quarterback play.
Right.
I think that'll be the case this year. So, yeah, we're agreeing on that. I think Liberty wins Conference USA yet again, or CUSA, as some people like to say. It almost just feels inevitable.
Yeah. Well, we're 5-5. 5 that we agree on, 5 that we don't agree on. Let us know which ones you agree with, maybe which ones you don't agree with. If there's a team we didn't even mention, would love to hear that in the comments. You can educate us on your picks. With that, hey, we thank you guys for watching. As you know, we're gearing up for football season. It is getting close, and we have way more content planned up till kickoff. So smash the like button on this one and subscribe if you like our content, and we'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.